Come chill on the couch with us.
Gotta love that song. It's bitchin' for another month here on the couch, and we've got our bitches with us. Let's introduce them from my right to left. We've got Cameron Kippen, podiatrist.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And today we've got the business lady herself, real estate tycoon I always call you.
June Kelly.
Renovator, June Kelly, and TV presenter. Thanks for being back.
Thanks, Fred.
And of course, radio mega personality from Curtin 100.9 Breakfast on a Saturday morning. We've got Ted Bull back. Welcome back.
Hello, and you just caught me. I just love June's eyes. Greg, they are beautiful eyes, aren't they?
Say that nice.
Smooth talker.
They really are. And your eyes are lovely too.
Thank you very much.
Fred.
Thank you, guys. We've got a couple of great topics to talk about today. The rest are not bad. But the two that I think are very big today are the one about the Aboriginal protesting. I think that's a big one. And the tasering, the guy who got killed when he was tasered, when the police asked him to stop, and he didn't stop. But I thought we might start with the protest. Have you got that one, Ted?
No, I think Cameron
You have
has
Cameron.
I have.
Please.
Yes,
So we've got some overlay that will run.
surreptitiously slipped it over to him.
We've actually got some overlay footage that will run, but just ignore it. And now give us a bit of a background, please, Cameron, before we talk
Well,
about it.
more or less what's happened is Colin Burnett has said that the protests can no longer take place.
Why are they protesting at
They're
Harrison?
protesting over the settlement for land rights that the government or the state government have actually agreed with the Noongar people, and it's factions within the Noongar
Is it like
group.
a splinter group that's
Yes.
not happy with that agreement?
It seems to be. And so subsequently they've taken up residency in the island, and this is now causing a public affair.
Can someone tell me where Harrison Island is? Because I've never actually been there. How do you get to there?
Well, it's across the causeway. Halfway across the causeway is Harrison Island. And it's quite a lovely place. There's a mob of kangaroos there. There's a statue of Yagan, one of the great Aboriginal people.
So can you get to it by foot?
Yeah, sure
So
can.
it's not actually across the water. So I've never been. So
No.
I'm very naive. And what is the problem? They're there protesting. Are they not allowed to be there?
They're
Cameron?
not allowed to be there as such, and they are protesting for the reasons they're protesting. And what's happened is that the Premier has said, well, no longer. They've tried to peacefully negotiate, but it would appear that that's not going to happen. And the end result is that something's about to take place. And
don't you think with the footage we're watching now, I mean, it's all confrontation.
It comes across extremely.
appears to be the case.
I mean,
It's a
police and
standoff.
horses,
It's a Mexican
the Aborigines
standoff.
waving flags and things like that.
Wasn't it the case that for a few days the government let it go? It allowed them to stay
But
there
people
peacefully.
should be allowed to protest.
Is there a difference between protesting and doing something illegal?
Well, so often, I
that's
mean,
a
that's
fine
why
line.
you protest, because certain
Surely.
legal things
But if
make you
someone
to
was to
behave
protest,
a certain way.
Ted, if someone came on your property
Yeah.
and started protesting, would you want them removed?
I think this is different. We're talking
This
about
is
Crown
public
land.
property.
This is
Okay,
public
that's
property.
what I was trying to get
Public,
you
so
to
it's
say.
a little
It's
bit of a
public
difference.
property, but the actual law says, if I'm correct here,
But the law can be an ass, Fred.
Well,
it can be, but the City of Perth Act says that no group is to provide accommodation. They can't put up tenting.
Okay,
they
so
can't
they're
set
not allowed to
fire.
put up tents, is what
and
it
set
basically
fires.
comes down to. However, I think that there should be the freedom of speech, and we're free.
Yeah.
To
I
be
think we're
able to
becoming
express how we
pussies.
feel.
I think we're
Yeah.
becoming wimps.
So do you guys all agree that these people should be allowed to protest there for as long as they like? Do you think it's okay for one group in the community, I don't care if they're Aboriginal, Italians, Greeks, Vietnamese, do you think it's fair for them to stop someone like myself running there? Which,
When were you
Well,
running there, Fred?
No, but do you think it-
No, come on.
I was actually there the other
Fred,
day.
would it really stop you running there? You just have more
Seeing the
obstacles
footage,
running
no,
than that.
there was people that were actually harassed and stopped and were told, you can't be here without our permission. Now, do you not think that as Australians we have a right just like them to...
Well, we
use that?
certainly do. We
And do
certainly
you think that the way they acted was probably not appropriate, where they were stopping other
Do you
Australians?
think Fred's putting words in our mouth?
Well, again, I think he's asking questions
Can I tell
without
you-
us
can I
getting
tell you
a
that
response.
most
Hey, you've
of-
asked the questions, let us answer.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think there's two things. One is in terms of the right to protest as a citizen, whoever and whatever, there is very clear indication that we are being over-legislated against.
Okay.
And that probably is very much a sign of the times. If we lose that right, then what kind of society are we?
I agree with
the
you.
way that protests which do not meet with the approval of the overseers are reported tend to have a bias which very often demonises the people who are protesting.
Because that's the footage we've been seeing on TV. It's basically the Aboriginals are doing something wrong.
Do you hear the people sing?
And that's what the story is. So you guys are saying the protests are fine. We're taking it
No,
too
we're
serious.
not saying that
We're
at all.
saying
You're putting
people
words
should
in
be
our
able
mouth.
to have an opinion, and that you should be able to
Do you not think they've
express
had that right
opinion.
already? Do you not think they've
Well,
already been given that right? and
What?
they've
So you're only
expressed it?
allowed to have an opinion for a certain period of
three
The
time?
days.
other way
How
of
long is a
looking at
protest
the other
a
way of looking at the
protest?
same
A
thing
protest
is,
can
do
continue
we
for
live
as
in a
long as you
police
feel we
state?
should.
And the argument is,
No.
yes, we
Okay.
are.
We
So
shouldn't
just
be.
to wrap it up, because I know the public out there have had their say, and they're saying get rid of these people. They're not.
No,
to
no,
be
you
there.
can't even say that.
No, no,
Freya. You
it's
say
been
that the whole
reported.
Who's the
public.
public?
It's been reported.
Yeah.
Who's
I mean,
the
I
public?
didn't say
I can
that.
only
I'm part of the
report. I can
public.
only report what's been put in the paper and what's been reported. So that's all we're allowed to say here. But the facts are that the police have been asked to remove those people by the government. They're the facts. The government did remove them. They came back again, and now the government's planning option 2 again, asking for the City of Perth to request the government to remove them again. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong.
Is this really a police matter, or is this the fact that the...
It's because they're
when you-
breaking the law. I
When
think
you
that's
look
where
at it,
comes.
it's actually the Perth...
City
what
of
do you
Perth.
call it?
City of Perth.
Council's
But they're
problem.
also
Because
So
that's
there are
their
people can
area.
well,
I think to give the
public
City of
grounds
Perth
deal with
credit,
it.
I don't think they want to take these people off the land. I think it's the society are putting pressure on them, the government's putting pressure on them. So just to quickly wrap it up, because we can talk forever, do you think it's okay?
What do you mean we could talk forever? We're not getting a bloody word in.
That's a good change.
No.
Second, the tasering.
Okay,
incident.
sorry.
Who's got
We're
that
right
one?
now.
Oh, I have that one.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So with the tasering, unfortunately, there's been a tasering that has consequently cost someone their life. The circumstances around that at the moment are still being investigated. However, what I would like to put forward is, where are the ground rules for tasering? If someone's actually running away, should a police officer taser them to stop them? Or should a taser only be used when it's actually defending
I think
themselves?
the law is specific. It says that you can use a taser when people are confronting you. So if
So
the policeman says
if so-
stop and they don't and they go to attack the police officer, you can use it.
If someone's actually running
You're not supposed to use it.
to be trying to escape a particular situation, then should that taser be used? And I think that that's the question.
Now, the
more
family's
so than
lodging an appeal of some type, aren't they? Is that what the story is about?
the family are looking into it, so there probably will be some form of investigation.
Well, there've been
Why-
internal
There would have to
investigation
be.
anyway.
What is the family wanting to investigate? Why are they wanting it investigated?
They're wanting it investigated because there's stories around the fact that this boy, the crime didn't fit
The punishment.
the punishment,
What-
and that consequently cost him his life.
So he did die, didn't he?
He
died.
did.
Yeah, I think we have been led to believe that tasers are a relatively safe way of stopping people when the police are being confronted.
However,
and
that can
threatened.
cause heart attacks.
Well, of
throw your
course. I mean,
heart out.
obviously,
So
and
that
in America and
circumstance-
Canada, of course, we know that deaths have occurred there. So it's one of those, you're caught between a rock and a hard place.
I know the
Me
police.
personally, I'd prefer to be tasered than shot.
So would I.
If I had to choose one.
But
Well,
see,
not,
for me,
not if it
my
causes
weight,
a
I might
heart
not want
attack.
to.
I think the problem
In
is,
fact,
once
looking at
again,
Fred's hair, I think he has been tasered.
I know, you can't
I'm just
really...
excited to see
Sorry.
you
I
two.
know,
Yeah.
but to be fair to the police,
Yep.
when they're confronted with situations like this, it's often a split-second decision.
Yeah.
The problem implicit is these things can cause damage to other people, and that they can only be seen to be used in the proper course of the law.
I know the police, Cameron, have come out and said, look, the amount of people that have died compared to the amount of people that have been stopped.
Yeah, but if it's your son or
no, look, I
daughter,
agree. I'm
you
just
know,
saying
it
what
doesn't
the
matter
police
if
have
the number
said.
of
Two
people that
wrongs
have
don't make a
died.
right. Now, I know for a fact, I was brought up as a coppers kid, but when I was 14, I came across police brutality because I got set about by two policemen. The vision in my mind was I was brought up in a police house, so I knew what frustrations many policemen would express. But at the same time, as a kid, trying to stand up and say I was innocent was only met with being beaten with
Was
fists.
this in Scotland?
In Bonnie, Scotland,
In Bonnie,
in
Scotland.
Glasgow. Now,
Well, you're not eating your porridge.
What my father said was, you shouldn't have been there, lad. You were as innocent as you can be. You were picked up and they beat the
I know
living
a
daylights
couple
out
of
of you.
commentators have said when police say stop, you stop, and
Yep.
that would have resolved the problem. Do you agree? I know we have to wrap it up with this one, but do you think the police said stop If he had stopped, he'd still be alive today?
We don't know.
Or
We
do
don't
you
know.
think they used the appropriate force, or do you think maybe in hindsight?
I
How
think
do
the
you know? 'Cause, I mean,
investigation,
it's like
the
anything.
investigation will bring that out, surely. Well,
Yes.
you'd hope it would.
It's like cameras or slant. There's always a
CCTV.
slant.
We've seen some
Some way
CCTV footage.
CCTVs. There's footage. However, you can edit footage to make it look
You can make it
whichever
look
way.
whatever slant you want it.
So until it's
It's a
investigated,
hard,
I think
hard
it's
case
hard.
because someone has
Yep.
passed away. There's somebody's family,
yes.
and you can understand the family now. They haven't got that person anymore, and they're seeing it as a very petty crime to be killed over. But I don't think, being fair to the police, I don't think they expected the man would have died.
Oh, no, I'm quite sure they
at
didn't.
all.
And as I said, the investigation, which will happen, as they do with all deaths the police are involved in.
It also
We'll
brings
find
up a
out.
very important issue, just to be very brief, and that is the way this aspect is reported in the press, because there is no question of doubt the fact that it can be slanted towards other things when that didn't actually happen.
I suppose we'll hang out to see what the investigation comes out with. The clamping of wheels is one of the ways that the state government is looking at punishing fine evaders. So where you don't pay a fine of about $1,000 to $2,000, our state government here in WA are looking at, instead of taking away your licence for 3 months, what are they looking at doing, Ted?
Well, they're going to name and shame. In other words, they're going to put your name in, they're going to publish your name. And it's an interesting thing because, you know, sure, they're breaking the law and all that kind of stuff, but there's a certain thing that sometimes we feel it's us against them, and there's a certain, you know, like, I think most of us feel parking fines. You know, we should not have to pay to park. And in actual fact, I have the Broderick Crawford theory. Do you know who Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was in
10-4.
American television. I'll explain to you, June. In the black and white days of television, television was once black and white, and there was this copper, rather large copper by the name of Broderick Crawford. And whenever he was going anywhere, where he was going to, right outside the door was always a parking spot. And we here, particularly in Western Australia, expect a parking spot to be wherever we're going.
Exactly.
Well, we're not like Sydney and Melbourne people who say, oh, look, I'll give myself half an hour to 4 hours to get a parking spot. We say, oh, I'll give myself 5 minutes.
Exactly.
But aren't they talking about just clamping people
Well, no,
for
they're talking
over
about clamping. They're looking
I
at
$1,000?
know they
clamping
are, but
tires.
we have this general sort of thing, I think, that we don't see that
Do you
as,
not
as a
think,
great
Ted,
crime.
we seem to have in this state, I think, and maybe the other states as well, I think it's all revenue-based. These new speed cameras, these new parking fines.
Yeah, well, these people haven't been
clamping
paying their
tires.
fines.
No, but it's all
They're
to do-
definitely towards
I
the
just
raising
got a
of revenue.
$75
But isn't it
fine for
all
doing
to
it.
make sure they?
Sorry.
Isn't it all to do with the government receiving its income? It's all about revenue.
But Fred and Cam and June, I think that people will say, hey, did you see my name? Woo!
Well,
I owe
what about
Well, I don't think
$5,927,000.
it wouldn't worry me, my name being up there. What would worry me is
They're
coming
gonna
out
clamp.
trying to use my car and
Well,
it's
apparently you
clamped.
can't
Yeah,
take
the
the
clamp.
clamps
You
off. They're
can't.
going to clamp your tyres, and they're also going to take your number plates off you. Because apparently a lot of people who have their licence suspended for 3 months are still driving. And I've got to be really honest with you.
Yeah.
That did happen to me many years
You
ago.
were clamped?
No, not I couldn't clamp it. Not with just one clamp.
But not in front of the family.
they
You could
actually-
maybe buy clamps and start a
used
new
to get-
business. There's a trend.
I used to get a lot of
happening
multi-nova fines, and I did pay my fines, but the problem
you
was
took
I
your
lost my
number plate
points.
off.
So
Yeah.
they took my licence away for 3 months, but I still had to go to work. So unfortunately, I still drove. Now the fine in those days wasn't driving without a licence; it was driving with a
It's a
suspended
statute of
licence.
limitations. You're
So
okay
it was
to
only
say this,
yeah,
Fred?
$50.
I don't want to see you
It's
being...
over
No,
seven.
no,
I
no,
don't
it's
want
all
to see
good.
your name
It's all good because I have
up
to
there
prove
in
it.
government papers.
I
And
was
his car
insane when I
clamped.
said it.
Criminal.
So do you guys think the government's on the right tack saying we will clamp people's tyres and we'll take away the rego plates?
Yeah, I think it is too. I think the government
Sorry.
should find better things to do with their time.
What do you think it is?
Bullshit.
No, but you said
Oh,
bullshit.
I actually said I think it's bullshit.
Okay,
I
thank you.
think it's a huge revenue making.
Yep.
I
And
think
what about you,
so.
Cam?
Yes, I'm total agreement.
All right, Holden. Holden came out of the
Holden, some
woodworks.
Holden this way.
They were going bankrupt.
They were.
What are we happening there? Are we going to?
Well, the Labour government has actually given them a big boost to stay
Yet again.
alive.
$275 million.
Million
I know
dollars.
we're right out of time, so let's
Again.
tackle this from a different angle. The issue is, it isn't saving Holden and the jobs. We think that's great. I'm pretty sure you'd all agree with that.
Yep.
But do you think it's okay for an Australian government to give money to an American company? Because Holden's not an Australian company. It's owned
You
by
mean they just let us call it that?
it's owned by GM, as we all know, is an American
no.
company. Ted, just a quick opinion. Do you think it's okay for us
Yes,
to rescue
I
American
do,
companies?
because I think we're all children of the universe as opposed to being individually one country.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's okay because for me, if a company can't make it on their own and they can't generate
Clearly
a
they
profit,
can't
then
manage.
they shouldn't be here.
And what about you, Ted?
You are a child of the universe. no bigger than the stars in the sky.
And I know we're going to go over by about a minute. I know we're going to wrap it
You're
up.
going to clamp me.
No, I'm going to. We've got one more story. Just quickly, I know we didn't get time to cover it. The Facebook story. The guy who went in for an interview, and he was asked by the person doing the interview to submit his login details for Facebook. Now, is this the way we're going? What do you guys think? I know very quickly. Do you think, because you've read the story?
Yes, it is. It is. Unfortunately, if you put it out there, someone's going to want to know about it.
And do you think it's okay for a possible employer to ask for your password so they can look up your Facebook?
No, of course it's not, but they're going to.
And I think it's not okay either. However, I thought of a way around it. Have 2 Facebooks and 2 login ones.
So 2 Facebooks?
As in two-faced. I think the thing is, I agree with the other guys. The fact is, it's out there. It can be read. There are a number of people
Don't
who
put it out there.
I never badmouth being on the couch because I know others are watching. I never
Thank you very much to Cameron Kippen. Thank you very much to June Kelly. And thank you very much to Ted Bull. I was going to call you Ted Sampson, but it's not. I don't know why. Ted Bull, thank you very much from Curtin
Goodbye,
FM.
Delilah.
Thank you very much. Why, Delilah? We need to go to a break because we're right out of time. We'll be back with more of The Couch. Spin it to win it next. Thank you very much.